The NBA draft lottery might have just created the perfect trade partner for the Toronto Raptors, and let me tell you why. What's up, everybody? It's JJ Buckets. Told you what we're doing today, so usual drill. Just before we hop into things, just make sure you're leaving a like on the video and subscribe if you're new here. Plus, if you plan on doing any responsible sports betting in the near future, just make sure to check out my link in the description below for a really nice sign-up bonus. The number 3 pick in the NBA draft fell into the lap of the Portland Trail Blazers, who are apparently insistent on trying Albert Einstein's definition of insanity, as they are once again looking to retool and build around Dame and create a, potential contending team, whatever. With that in mind, you gotta look around, and there are not many better trade partners for the Toronto Raptors than the Portland Trail Blazers right now for a multitude of reasons. Number one would be what the Portland Trail Blazers are looking for. They're looking for a star to pair with Dame, and quite frankly, again, it's been a bit of a talking point so far this offseason, but if Pascal Siakam is going to be somebody that's on the move, which has been at least rumored a couple of times out there, again, take it for what you will, but if he is going to be on the move this offseason, that's the kind of running mate that Portland would definitely be looking for Damian Lillard. Quite frankly, I think their play styles complement each other really well, and I think Pascal would thrive next to a player like Damian Lillard. So I think for Portland, it does make a whole lot of sense to try and pursue a guy like Pascal. And now all of a sudden, if you're Toronto, Portland is sitting with a lot of pieces that you may like for a plethora of reasons, quite frankly. Let's start off with the fact that, if you're Toronto, you're going to be looking to replace guys in the backcourt specifically this offseason. There's a good chance Fred VanVleet is gone from this team in the offseason. There's a good chance that Gary Trent Jr. might be gone from this team in the offseason. All of a sudden, that leaves you 2 big vacancies there. And now suddenly an opportunity to replace them. And let me explain to you how. So if you're partnering up with Portland for a trade, obviously first things first, we are talking about the number 3 overall pick. That's undoubtedly going to be in this deal, right? And I'll let you know why there's actually a really great scenario there in a second. But on top of that pick, I think if you're Toronto, you get a chance to push for somebody else from Portland that's really going to give you a chance to properly compete, I would say. Maybe obviously not today, but in terms of moving forward, that's going to give you a chance to properly compete, because you have one of 2 routes you can take, right? You can either ask for Anthony Simons in that deal, because you're going to need either Simons or Nurkic in that deal to make the money work regardless. If you're asking for Simons, that's personally to me the safer route, I guess, because you know what Simons is for the most part, and he's a good pro at the NBA level. Personally speaking, I don't think I'm the biggest fan of him just because of his lackluster defense and, how you would have to work to constantly hide that if you're Toronto. But at the very least, on the offensive side of it, you get a very, very gifted player, which is going to be great. The other route of things, if you're talking about this trade package, is going to be you can ask for use of Nurkic just to make the contracts work, and then see if you can pry away Shaedon Sharpe, which would be... It's a bit of the scenario, right, where you don't know as much about what he can be at the NBA level, so he's less of a proven commodity, but the excitement of what he can be is now suddenly really alluring. Because let's just put it this way, I think in my personal opinion, route number 2 is a little more appealing because of what you can kind of put together here. So let's say in an idealistic scenario here, if you're Toronto, you're talking with Portland, and you manage to kind of settle in on Nurkic for the money. You get Shaedon Sharpe as your young guy, as your young prospect that you're getting back in this trade, and you're getting the number 3 overall pick. Look at the draft order of what you have at the moment. You have Spurs at number 1, who obviously they're going to take Wemby. I don't think there should be any doubt about the fact that Wemby is going number 1 to the Spurs. But when you look at number 2, that's when things get interesting, right? Because number 2 is the Charlotte Hornets. Now, with the Charlotte Hornets, do I think there's a chance that they take Scoot Henderson? Yes. Do I think there's a bigger chance than there would have been otherwise that Scoot Henderson might actually fall to number 3 with Charlotte at number 2? Yeah. I think there's a good damn chance that Charlotte takes a look at Miller, who's right near the top of the draft as well. And given the fact that you already have LaMelo Ball on the team, you might actually be inclined to go in that route. And now suddenly, Scoot Henderson is being left on the board at number 3, where, in theory, if you're Toronto and you're taking that pick, now you have Scoot Henderson dropping into your lap at number 3. And obviously, as much as you can tell, I'm high on Scoot Henderson. I think he's a really damn good prospect, and I think he's going to be a really damn good pro. I'm not going to go into the scouting report, and I'm not going to give you the, he gives me shades of whatever player, but there's definitely a few players that come to mind when I watch Scoot Henderson. I just don't want to put those unrealistic expectations on him as of now. But he's definitely reminiscent to a few recent, I guess, memory stars in terms of what he can bring offensively. Yeah, if you're Toronto and you're sitting there and you're getting this trade package and you're getting these trade talks with the Portland Trail Blazers, and you can put yourself in a scenario where you're getting Scoot Henderson and Shaedon Sharpe in return, you just suddenly put together your backcourt just like that, with obviously the potential of Fred and Gary Trent Jr. being at the door. You've now replaced them next to immediately with 2 young guys that have a hell of a ceiling in the NBA. You then still have a chance to have OG Anunoby on this team, as well as Scotty Barnes. That moving forward is your forward pair. You now also have the money, obviously, to throw whatever contract you need at Jakob Poeltl and not really worry about him walking out this offseason as a free agent. And you suddenly have a really good lineup to look forward to moving forward if you're Toronto, quite frankly. Because while I know a lot of Raptors fans, or at least some Raptors fans, have talked about the fact that, hey, look, there's going to be some turnover in the East. They don't necessarily need to retool. But moves like this can honestly really position Toronto well to maybe not contend, I would say, obviously, next year or the year after. But, when these guys are really hitting their stride, suddenly you're looking at the pieces on this team. And if you can get the development that you need, obviously we'll bring in the head coach that you still need to bring in and the assistants and stuff that you need to bring in. If you can put together a great staff there that knows how to develop these young guys, that can put them in a position to succeed, you now have between Scotty Barnes, Scoot Henderson, Shaedon Sharpe, ideally again, you have 3 guys that could all have some really special ceilings in the NBA. You still, ideally in this scenario, manage to find a way to incorporate OG Anunoby into the team to, I guess, a level where he feels reasonably satisfied with his role in Toronto, that he sticks around and his defensive value on this team remains. You have Jakob Poeltl, who obviously his defensive value on this team is also quite high, I would say, as well as obviously being able to clean up the glass for your team as well, being able to make those little passes offensively and being able to finish off on the pick and roll offensively. That's a really good lineup moving forward. That is a really good lineup moving forward if, you can get yourself into a position where everything falls into place properly. And just, wow. Yeah, I'm sitting there genuinely, I'm thinking about the possibilities here, and quite frankly, while, again, like I've said in previous videos, I will never openly advocate for Pascal Siakam trades. If there was a scenario where I would be very open to hearing it, this would definitely be it. Yeah, that's pretty much been me for the video. Just been ripping off thoughts on why I really do think this could be a fantastic trade scenario for the Toronto Raptors. Do you agree? If you do, or if you don't, either way, comment below. Let me know what you folks think. Obviously, trade talks, trade speculation, stuff like that, it's some of the funnest times, I would say, for fans, just kind of be able to fantasy build, so to speak, the teams in their heads with all these rumors flying around, such like that. So let me know if this is an avenue that you like for Toronto, or whether or not you don't like it as much as, quite frankly, I would in this scenario. Let me hear all that in the comments below. Other than that, folks, usual drill at the end of this video is just make sure you're leaving a like on it. If you're still watching, I'd like to think you enjoyed the video enough to hit that like button. It takes like a second, so thank you if you do that. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. And yeah, that's pretty much been me. It's been JJ Buckets. It's been real. And I will see everybody next time.